I think that the formula for a great party is simple. Beautiful details, good music, and of course, fabulous food. So we invited New York's top wedding caterer here to share his best tips on how to create a feast guarantee to get a great reception at any event. Please welcome the owner of Callahan Catering, Peter Callahan. So nice to have you on the show again.
Thank you, Martha.
Now, everyone absolutely was just astonished and enjoyed so much your food at my nephew's wedding. Really, it was forthcoming and generous and delicious, and every single thing I ate. I mean, I forget to eat at my own parties, but there it is. There's some B-roll of what was going on. But just as we set up here in front of us on the set, people really loved the food, and they were intent. They were studying every single thing and wanted to know what was in everything. And tell us how you came up with this idea for the big box full of boxes.
Well, this idea really was inspired by your farm. So it was an early fall wedding, and I wanted to have sort of like a farmer's market feel. And so I came up with this idea, which I've never done before, and haven't
I
since.
didn't know that, and I'm so excited that it was initiated at my farm. I like that.
And so it's 27 different boxes here, and there's one large box underneath it. This came in its own little van, and we make all of this in our shop. And each one of these is its own box that fits down inside.
Fantastic. So not so complicated to do, but difficult to actually conceptualize. You're the conceptualizer.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Peter's written a book, by the way, which is coming out when?
It's coming out August 30th.
Oh, August 30th. I
Yes.
cannot wait. And it's what's the title?
Bite by Bite.
Bite by Bite. And I wrote the foreword. I'm so excited about it. But it is a very beautiful book, and you'll get lots and lots of ideas for this kind of food. But how can couples personalize their food? What if they don't have you?
Okay, well, if you don't have someone like myself, one thing to do is just draw from your own life and experiences, such as, do you have a favorite recipe from your grandmother? Is there a place that your family's from or you like to visit? And drawing things that are meaningful to yourself into the menu is terrific.
Right, because this looks like my vegetable garden.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. And what's your advice on finding a great caterer?
I think first of all, personal references from friends is always the best way. Yeah. And then the next thing is trying to find out if it's the right fit. Mm-hmm. So I think that the first thing is to really give a lot of information about what you're looking for, and then find out what a caterer really enjoys to do, because that's what they're going to be good at.
Right. Yeah, don't ask a caterer to do this if the caterer is not used to doing this, right?
That's right.
Because to think of 29 different dishes to put into 29 different boxes.
Yes.
It's pretty hard. And yet you do it with just such ease. And what kind of questions should couples ask at the start?
Well, I think at the start, you want to, number one, make sure you're with the right caterer budget-wise. And then from there, you need to get into sort of the nuts and bolts of it, maybe give an idea of the size of the wedding, and sort of the setting. The setting's very important. Some people caterers might not have done, say, a tented wedding, which is very different than maybe being in a ballroom where there's already a set kitchen.
Oh, right, a kitchen, having to build their own kitchen.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. You're so expert at it. Yeah, Peter just shows up with the kitchen and sets it up somewhere on the property. It's really amazing.
Yes, we like that because we can bring exactly what equipment we need.
Right. And so what are some entertaining essentials in
your
mind?
Some entertaining essentials. When it comes to a wedding for a caterer, an itinerary, something drawn up that gives you about when guests are arriving, perhaps even when the family's arriving earlier.
The list for Tim and Chris's wedding was quite long.
Yes, that was.
Yeah, the menu itself was quite long. There were at least 40 things on the menu. And that's, it's complicated. You have to think about it, and you have to deliver.
That's right.
I'm there with the checklist. I didn't have to ask where were the yellow beets, because the yellow beets were there. No, it's really, really interesting. And what else?
Well, you want to make sure that for the wedding, that if, say as an example, if you're working with a florist, that you're not assuming that they're bringing the votive candles as an example. Sometimes the caterer will bring that, sometimes it's the florist. So you have to have
cocktail napkins.
Or the cocktail
sometimes.
napkins.
Oh, I remember no cocktail napkins in a country wedding with no stores nearby.
Right.
It was pretty hard cutting up paper towels.
I bet it was very clever, and it became a trend afterwards, Martha.
You bet. Show us the desserts, because again, Peter is the expert at mini desserts, these little tiny, unbelievable good tastes. Yeah, so this is what we had at the wedding.
Exactly. So we had a big farm table, and we had these different stands that I also made for the wedding, which I'd never done before. Has sort of like a picket fence feel, and all of these are relatively easy to eat. So we have lady apples here, and they've been hollowed out, and there's a chocolate ganache inside. And
Delicious.
we've got these donuts here with a
Those
royal
are
icing.
real donuts. Look at the size.
So-
Everything is bite-sized and so gorgeous. And these, my favorite, are these the peach tarts or
So
apple tarts?
these are apple tarts.
Apple tarts. Look at that. Look at the cute little apple tart. And many other things you also offer, and everything was just exquisite. Well, Peter brought a caramel lady apple with chocolate ganache for everyone in our studio audience. Eat it on the way home.